Hello once again, audience. It is me, your boy TPT, coming at you not live and not from Twitch TV. Holy crap, I'm not dead. I know. Don't freak out. I'm not a ghost. It's really me. I know it's been about like 8 months since I've last recorded and uploaded. If you exclude that like one little random video I made, it's been 8 months. I know that's been too long. But I'm back. Look, realistically, I've just been too busy. Plus also, I kind of got burnt out of EU4, and I also kind of ran out of topics to talk about. And so, as a result of that, I just didn't really want to make any more videos. And like that's really just the long and short of it. You know, because I just didn't really feel like it, because again I'm a full-time university student. I have 2 jobs. I have a startup that I'm working on, and you know, I just haven't really fit it in my schedule. However, I am now on exam block, and as such I find myself with too much free time, and I thought, what can I do? You know what I can do? Let's make some goddamn YouTube videos again. So I'm back, and we are better than ever. Going to be making a beginner's guide series to Warhammer 3. I probably will do it for Warhammer 2 as well, but I figured I'd do it for 3 first because it is more relevant and your boy needs those clicks. So, I find myself, you know, back here, you know, in front of a computer screen, recording myself, talking to myself, as you do. Anyhow, I wanted to start off this series talking about Kislev, but after recording it the first time, I realized there's probably a few basic things that I need to cover first, which I don't feel were adequately discussed within the tutorial of the game itself. Just getting to a few generic things before I start to cover each of the specific factions. Particularly regarding things like modifiers, like casualty replenishment, trade, and just a few other things as well, like global recruitment, etc. Because I don't believe, I have played the tutorial, I don't believe they covered global recruitment, so I will also discuss that too. Plus also, you know, I just feel like they could have also done it a little better in parts as well, but that's okay. I honestly think the tutorial is one of the best made parts about this video game, as opposed to the actual Chaos Rift mechanics itself. So, I'll just fucking jump right into it. First thing I want to talk about is trade. Essentially, how trade in this game actually functions. So, when discussing trade, the first important thing you need to know is, how do I actually make money off of trade? The answer is pretty simple. You go to your diplomacy screen, you stop back and you look here to see what doesn't have a little X through it. And not all factions can trade, so there are a couple factions that can't. I believe Khorne can't trade, I believe that Tzeentch can't trade, and I don't think Nurgle can either. However, Cathay, I think the Ogre Kingdoms can, and Kislev can as well. Plus obviously there's also the Old World factions, but I'm not going to cover those in this video. So if your faction can trade, you'll see a few little options that look like this. I've also already made one trade thing just as a point of reference. So if we go and organize ourselves a little bit of a trade deal, looks like it's a little bit of a little bitch. So we'll give them 600 gold and we'll see right here. So our trade agreement, your offers, your demands. Essentially, because neither of us has any special resources right now, as a result of that, the only thing that we get is tariffs. Tariffs is essentially the base money that you make from trade. It doesn't really change much. Typically it's very small, normally less than 100. I think I've seen it go up as high as about 80, but that's about it. So when you accept that, essentially, obviously we've now got 2 trade deals. So if we actually click this little icon up here, it takes us to our treasury menu and we have a trade option. So as you can see here, we have our little trade summary, and we've got producing and we've got importing. So as you can see here, we are importing some pottery, which is pretty cool. We do make a tiny little bit amount of that pottery income in extra trade value, but generally it's the obviously the faction that controls that resource that makes most of the money, and I'll get into that in a little bit. So as you can see here, we've got our imports, we've got our exports. This little icon here is just showing the tariffs. Like I said, that's just the basic money, and you know, we're making 111 from trade, which, you know what, that could be worse. Could also be a lot better, of course, but you know, money is money, and trade can be extremely profitable indeed. So you may be asking, how the hell do I get trade resources? Well, it's pretty simple. If you look on the map, you'll find all these icons next to cities. Like this one's got marble, this one's got fur, this one's livestock, or sorry, pastures. And you know, we have got timber up here as well. So what you do is, once you own that settlement, it unlocks a unique chain for that individual resource. So other fur resources will also have these buildings, but if it's a different resource, it'll have a different set of buildings. And all these buildings will typically provide you, if you can trade with the resource, as well as a couple other bonuses that you can normally get. So as you can see here, we have our wild game trade line. So with this one, we produce 20 bundles of fur. It also provides us a little bit of extra income from farms, as well as some recruitment costs. The farm benefit is actually really sweet, by the way. That 6%, that's a good bit of dosh there once you start expanding. Either way, so say we produce this building here. It gives us 20 bundles of fur. So what does 20 mean? What are these bundles of fur? What do they actually do? Well, if you head back over to our trade screen and we look up the top here, we'll see that furs is a type of resource, and it's got a resource value of 10. Now it says there, this resource has not yet been acquired. Obviously, once we build that particular, you know, set of that building chain, should I say, it unlocks those access to those resources. And with this one, this particular resource has a value of 10. So essentially what happens with that is it takes that value of 10 and multiplies it by the number of resources that we produce, so 20. So essentially, once we complete this fur you know, production, with our trading partners, we will produce 200 gold from trading. Now, the only downside to this is it is not unlimited. So regarding trading resources, the number of resources you can trade with each individual partner is determined by the number of settlements that trade partner has. So if we're producing, say, you know, 10,000 fur, like we're the fur capital, we are the Newfoundland of Warhammer 3. Unfortunately, we would not be making 100,000 gold because we only have 2 trade partners right now. So each of those will take a little bit of that fur, and in return we'll get some extra money. But they won't get the full 10,000. We may only get, you know, like 100. And honestly, it's probably less than that. I don't know exactly how it's calculated. I will admit that. I don't personally know. I'm sorry. But essentially, it's limited by the number of settlements. So we may only get a small fraction of that in trade value. And so as you unlock more resources, obviously you unlock more trade. Some of the most expensive right here is the golden idols, which are worth 16, as well as I believe the diamonds, which are 16, and the elven trinkets, which are also worth 16. But they're elven exclusive, so I won't bother going into details with those. But obviously, you know, to get the diamonds and to get the gold artifacts, you got to get the gold and you've got to get the diamonds. I believe one of these settlements over here is a gold province, if you're curious. But essentially, that's how trade works. The only other important thing is obviously how to know whether or not you can trade with them, or like what are the restrictions. Thankfully, unlike Warhammer 2, Warhammer 3 allows you to trade with pretty much any faction. There's no limit to land routes, as obviously in Warhammer 2, you actually have to be able to make a route between your capital and theirs in order to be able to trade. But if we look here, as you can see, no such issues were found. And look at that, all these people want to accept our trade, you know, just go to another one. Get that. Never mind, can't afford it. But if you look here, if we go to our trade screen, still more and more people trading. And look at all that delicious money right there. But yeah, so essentially the main condition is just they have to be able to trade and they can't be at war with them. So you can't. So right now I wouldn't be able to trade with obviously the Robson clan because I'm at war with them. And that's essentially the long and short of trade. It's not really too complicated. There's nothing difficult about it. It's not to be confused with the caravans that Cathay have. That is a unique mechanic to them, and that is not what the generic trade is. Either way, though, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it has educated you a little bit on how trade works. There is definitely some other topics I'll be covering, but I just figured I'd do, this one for now. I'd also like to cover things like essentially what you should prioritize in your lords, possibly, as well as maybe one or two other things as well, just before I get into the really specific faction mechanics. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, obviously be sure to hit that like button. Blah blah blah, YouTube algorithm, blah blah blah, let me get that big dick subscriber count, you know how it is. And if you did, don't feel obligated to, but if you did enjoy the content, feel free to hit the subscribe button, as I will definitely be making more of these. I probably will be a bit organized in the future. I kind of did this on a bit of a spur of the moment, I'm not gonna lie. But hey, it is what it is. I will promise I'll be more ready next time. And anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed it, and I will catch you all next time. Peace.